I woke up. I was exhausted beyond belief, and I remember getting up and swooning. Literally, I felt like I was going to faint. And then I decided at that moment that although I had a ton of things I needed to get done at work, I was going to call in sick. And so I called and said I was not coming in. And as soon as I called, I felt this surge of energy flow through me. I remember thinking, when did calling in sick become a healing protocol? And so I thought nothing of it. I just rested that day and then went into work the next day. And now looking back, I realized that my body was basically telling me it was no longer going to cooperate with my nonsense. I had gotten to a point where I'd been ignoring all the signs, and me burning out was the only way to slow me down so I could pause and reassess. If you have ever felt as if you are going through the motions but your soul has departed, I know exactly what that feels like. Yes, I was living in a beautiful, beautiful marble floored apartment, floor to ceiling windows, lovely balcony, beachfront, lazy river, Olympic sized swimming pool, incredible moonlights. You felt you could just touch the moon. In a place called Oceana in Dubai. And although I had all the perks, I could go into any store and get what I wanted. I didn't need to check my card. I knew I had enough money. I was jet setting around the world business class for work. It was coming at a sacrifice. This success was coming at a sacrifice. I was sacrificing my physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual health at the altar of success. And so people looking from the outside would say, wow, you have the dream job. Oh, that's amazing. I would love to have what you have. Little did they know, it may have been golden, but it was still a cage. And not a cage because everything corporate is a cage. Of course not. Corporate is a place where I learned so many things. I developed so many skills. I learned to go into various sorts of battles and be victorious. I understood how important it was to handle objections, to present in a certain way so that people could come on board, to include people in projects with differing agendas. Corporate is a beautiful place to learn. And just like a rocket has boosters, and these boosters, after a certain stage in the trajectory of the rocket, they fall off. For some people, corporate is that. It's a part of the journey, it's not the whole journey. And so it's not a question of whether corporate is bad or good, but if for you, in your deep alignment, your life's path, corporate was simply meant to be a booster, at some point in time, it's going to feel like a cage. And that is exactly what happened. After a while, the biggest cosmetics company in the world, this was an over $3 billion industry, began to feel small. I knew deep in my heart that even if I left that particular company, going to another company would not intrinsically change what was going on. My heart and my soul were asking for more. So if something that's been great up until now begins to feel small, tight, and constricted, then it may be that it is time for you to explore what's truly next. And next does not mean hopping from the same job to another job with a different name. Next may mean something radically different. And for some of us, although we've been getting those prompts for years, little prompts, I didn't listen. I kept rationalizing. It was not until my body stepped in to stop the nonsense that I really took a pause, that I really had to ask myself what is going on. And I realized that it was not the amount of work I was doing, and yes, I was doing an incredible amount of work. I was working with the intensity of a Formula One driver and the dedication of a doctor on call. And this wasn't just for a few weekends, I was doing this year in, year out. It wasn't the amount of work. When people used to say, oh my goodness, when you become an entrepreneur, you're going to work even harder. I knew deep in my heart there is no way I could possibly work harder. There is nothing more to give. So the amount of work wasn't the issue for me. But what it was that my heart was no longer in alignment. Many high achieving women think, oh, your head is your most powerful asset and that will drive everything. I learned the hard way that, yes, when my heart is aligned, then my head will support. But if I am trying to drive with my head, everything feels like I'm pushing a boulder uphill, and it's a slow and painful process. When you are able to go through your days, however, with your heart lit up with joy, burnout is impossible. So if you feel like your days have become a drudgery, then my invitation is to pause and ask, where am I out of alignment? Why is this no longer sparking joy? Why is my heart and soul no longer alight? And this idea that I used to have, that many used to have, that, oh my goodness, that's just how it is. You can't be happy with everything. You've got to tolerate some things and then sacrifice some things. No. Your days, your time is not meant to be spent in drudgery. You get to live a joyful, aligned life. And if that is not the case, then what limiting beliefs are you buying into to justify the lack of fulfillment that you have in your so-called successful life? And as Tony Robbins says, the greatest form of failure is success without fulfillment. That feels like a cage. So you have all the trappings of success, but you don't feel fulfilled. And so the reason why I left this huge billion-dollar, multi-billion-dollar industry was because I was no longer in alignment. I was ready for something new. I knew that deep inside, I was sick and tired of seeing people, especially women, bend themselves into pretzels to fit into the box that they felt the organization or their managers or their colleagues needed them to be in to be accepted and liked. It was painful to watch, and I just knew that deep inside, what is important for every single woman is to, number one, reconnect with your true self. Reclaim that person. Number two, magnify your essence. Be who you truly are. Show up in your authenticity without apology. And in doing so, you actually allow other people show up as in their authentic essence as well. And lastly, when you've reconnected with yourself, you're now magnifying your essence. You can reveal your magnificence, and not in a haughty type of way. Revealing your magnificence is about showing up with your gifts without dimming your light so that you can truly be of service. Because if you're dimming your light and downplaying your gifts, how can you truly deliver those gifts to the world? How can people find you? I truly believe that when women shift, the whole world shifts. I also believe that when you shift your identity, you shift your destiny. Many people are waiting for external things to change, your marriage, your work, your friendships, money in your bank, so that you can then change who you are and how you feel. What I really teach my clients is the secret, the understanding that when you truly change that identity of yours, everything in your life must shift in alignment. And what I love working with identity is that one identity is the one that's going to show up in every area, from love to health to work to philanthropy, whatever it is you want to do. And you're not going to get in life what you say you want. You're going to get what you believe you deserve. So that identity, is it an identity that believes you deserve $500,000 a year? Is it an identity that believes that you deserve to be loved and cherished unconditionally? Is it an identity that believes that you can do immense good in the world and you will always be supported? Or is it an identity that thinks somehow that you are intrinsically flawed and so you don't deserve the support? That you must work hard for every single thing that you do? An identity that repels things and when they come easy because you deep down don't think that's okay and that's right. So that identity and the beliefs and the stories you tell yourself will determine how you experience life. Life is there for everyone, but your experience of it is filtered through the identity that you choose. And one of the greatest, most liberating things that's ever happened for me is when I was in a leadership program and one of the slides came up before we even started. And the slide basically asked one question. And this question is, are you prepared to let go of who you have become so that you can be who you truly are? When I saw that question, it was like double take whiplash. What is this? I realized consciously for the first time that who I have become is not a fatality. It's not who I am. It's simply who I have become. It's an identity that I can change and shift if I choose. And with that realization, I felt free. Because I knew for a fact that if the identity that I have today no longer serves me, just like an old pair of shoes, an old dress that doesn't fit, I can become someone else. I can choose a new identity. When you really truly get that, you start treating your identity not as something that was given to you, but as something that you, on a daily basis, craft. And craft in alignment with the results and the life that you choose to lead. This is one of the most incredible breakthroughs that my clients step into and embody. So that you move from simply hustling and grinding and burning out to being able to receive with ease and grace because you are clear about your intentions. You step into action with courage and you can receive with gratitude. And so if you feel that your life somehow is not in alignment with what your heart truly desires, my invitation is to understand that no matter how powerful you are mentally, your mental ability cannot be stronger than your heart and your soul. And so if your heart and soul are not on board, then you're going to create tension and things are going to feel heavy. So if you are prepared to truly go big, to truly go quantum, to stop being in the, oh, I'm going to wait until I see it before I believe it, and you're prepared to really step into choosing high quality next level beliefs so that then you're going to see them because it is the law. I invite you to connect. I invite you to connect because the kind of miracles that I have been permitted to witness in my 6-step Rekindle program are incredible. We don't start with crafting your vision, because if we crafted your vision, it's like you want to landscape a beautiful garden. And right now the garden has junk and weeds, and you don't even weed and you don't even clear the junk. You start landscaping. No, we start with releasing the shame, the blame, the guilt that many people have, decades of that. Then we step into relaxation, understanding that when you are stressed, you're operating from a constricted energetic field. And if your energetics are constricted, then you will make everything difficult, and your creativity is less. Your ability to connect with people is less. You actually see less, as opposed to increased awareness, increased connection, increased creativity, increased ability to receive. And from a relaxed perspective, understanding that relaxation is not a reward, it's actually a birthright. You step into reconnecting with yourself and truly walking to the beat of your own heart. Not what mommy wants and daddy wants and everybody else wants. You start walking to the beat of your own heart in self-sovereignty. And from this platform of self-sovereignty, you go into re-envisioning your life. No longer playing small, no longer settling for scraps, no longer saying, oh, I need to have the full plan before I move forwards. You now start working in partnership with the universe, getting prompts, receiving prompts, trusting, stepping one foot forward, and then the path illuminating, another foot forward, and the path illuminating. These are big, hairy, audacious goals. And then you step into rejoicing, understanding that you're no longer going to wait until the thing has manifested in 3D before you feel joy. You are going to be a joy magnet. You are going to find reasons to be joyful right now, so that you can actually magnetize the things that you desire even quicker. Because when you have it, you're going to feel joy. So why not be on the frequency of joy right now so that you can have it even quicker? And then we move into the receiving, the understanding that receiving is not weak. Asking for help is not weak. In fact, in receiving support, in receiving what you desire with ease, you're actually giving an opportunity for someone else to give. And if you're not open to receiving, then everything will feel heavy. And the higher your goals, the bigger your goals, the more comfortable you get to be with receiving. And so that process will support you in rekindling your phenomenal feminine essence. So you shift from the Newtonian, get your shoulders in there, moving, pushing, forcing, to the quantum, allowing, enjoying, loving, expanding. If this is something that resonates somewhere within you, then you definitely want to connect with me, and let's have a conversation about how we can shift from your current life trajectory to the one that you know your heart is calling you towards. My name is Bolu TV, and I support high level women who are entrepreneurs, leaders in corporate. Really ignite within themselves that desire to burn down everything that's between them and that next level life, so you can really have those flames of passion, love, expansion, joy, all of that as you create incredible impact in the world. Till next time, love and light.